If you miss us talking about it nonstop for a week, it's about to get cold, real cold. Too late to winterize to save on big energy bills, but Marshall Zellinger has some short-term ideas.
The biggest colder places are right around the window.
Let's check in ahead of Inauguration Day with some of Colorado's most prominent election deniers. They like this election result, but one got bad legal news today. A gaudy makeover for a beautiful church is actually a return to its roots.
Now it stands out. It is a beacon on this campus.
And we found the one Coloradan really excited about a negative-degree weekend.
Oh, the weather's absolute heaven.
That's tonight on Next.
Get cozy, because here comes the cold. So we ducked the possibility for the flash-frozen commute home. That never materialized. But the snow's finally here as the temperatures do their dropout. If it looked like this on the day that somebody named Lookout Mountain, they probably would have come up with a new name for the place. That's pretty wild. Real concern tonight is the cold. Meteorologist Kathy Sabin, that is coming in quickly.
Yep, already here. We hit 51 degrees earlier today. We're already in the mid-20s, so icy roads, flash freeze conditions could still happen overnight. Thankfully, the commute for the most part has made it through just fine. But with the cold air, with the snow coming in, a layer of ice is certainly possible underneath the 3 to 6 inches of snow that we are forecasting in the next 24 to 36 hours. The polar plunge is coming in 2 waves. We will see a duration of below freezing temperatures for over 100 hours. The lowest temperature -10, the coldest potential wind chill -30, 3 to 6 inches of snow expected as we remain under a winter weather advisory. Roads are wet. So far, everybody's doing just fine on I-25, thankfully. We're sitting in the mid-20s with wind chill values in the mid-teens. The northeast upslope winds are going to start to push that moisture in, so snow is filling in from Denver up to Fort Collins, DIA, and out on the northeastern plains. Call ahead, check ahead if you have travel plans in or out of the airport. The snow may certainly impact those plans tonight or tomorrow. Winter weather advisory in effect for Denver until 5 o'clock tomorrow. 3 to 6 inches of snow along the I-25 corridor. The snow will really pick up overnight, continuing heavy, and then we really won't get a break from the snow until mid-morning, mid-afternoon tomorrow. We'll start to see some improvement from north to south, but the bitter cold is here to stay, along with 3 to 6 inches of snow for Denver, 4 to 10 for the mountains and foothills. A look at the extended forecast coming up.
As of tonight, Denver will have 8 emergency cold weather shelters open in addition to the city's traditional shelter system. The city expects to keep those emergency shelters open through the end of the month. Denver is recommending that people who need shelter try the city's what they call front door shelters first. So for a single adult, that would be Denver Rescue Mission, Samaritan House shelters on Lawrence Street. Families with kids should head to the Urban Peak shelter on Coma. Now, if needed, people can be directed to various emergency shelters or even city buildings that can be open 24/7 throughout the weekend, depending on need. City rec centers will also function as daytime warming centers only during regular business hours. Xcel customers have spent years paying off the cost of the cold snap of 2021, that major spike in natural gas prices during a bad winter storm. Now Xcel is warning that wholesale gas prices are up again, right as a lot of the U.S. prepares for a polar vortex, though Xcel says there are new rules in place that should mitigate the impact to customers' bills. Xcel hedges for about half of its gas needs. They buy ahead of time based on predictions of demand and costs. Then Xcel buys the second half later. The company pays more, and that extra cost can be directly passed on to customers. That hedging led Xcel to seek $500 million in cost recovery from customers after the winter storm of 2021. Customers just finally finished paying that back this month. State regulators have since capped how much of those price increases can be passed along to the public and set up a rainy day fund to help pay for the difference.
When the prices hit that cap, there is a set of dollars set aside that there's already about $40 million from the Xcel service territory that can be tapped to pay those bills. So it's going to be much less of an experience for consumers.
Xcel says they expect the impact to customers to be relatively small this time around, and it should be spread over bills for about the next year or so. So a fantastic way to check for drafty spots in your home is to just be inside of it when it's sub-zero outside like this weekend. Obviously not going to help you fix the issues for this cold snap, but maybe identify some ones for the next one. Our Marshall Zellinger joins us now from the coldest place at 9 News, which would be at our desks, directly beneath the air conditioning vent that they run all winter long. But this isn't about our problems, Marshall. This is about solving problems for other people.
I mean, it can be about our problems, and you can see on the blinds behind me at the very bottom, they are shaking because of the air conditioning. We'll get to that in a minute. I have my trusty little infrared camera to show off here. One of the tips, and you saw Marilyn just briefly in the infrared camera, one of the tips is to keep your blinds down in the cold air. You can see it's 72 degrees, 71.5 degrees with the blinds down. Marilyn, pull those blinds up, and when I shoot this toward the window, you can see it's now 59 degrees. So just the blinds down keeps 12 degrees of cold away.
The biggest cold air places are right around the window. Right now it's showing that is around 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
You don't need an infrared camera like Colorado School of Mines professor Paulo Tabarez to find out where your home leaks cold air. You just need an Arctic weekend, and you'll find out which of your windows and doors let cold air come through.
Where you have a window that is not well sealed in the corners at the bottom, where you can see light coming through, or you have a single pane that's basically just one glass, right? Those windows lose a lot of heat.
That is why one of the practical tips to stay warm inside this weekend is to keep your drapes and blinds closed.
Now that we roll out the blinds, you can see a big difference.
With the blinds up, the temperature around Tabarez's office window is 66 degrees, 4 degrees colder, and that's just with semi-sheer blinds.
I would say a drape will actually help reduce the heat losses.
Drapes, oddly enough, are on both sides of the tip sheet. Keep closed unless the sun is trying to get through.
Open the drapes, open the blinds, so that sun can enter your house, and that will be free heating for your house. Once the sun is out, then do the opposite. Close the blinds, put the drapes in, so you minimize any heat losses going out of your house.
Keeping the drapes closed is a remedy, but it does not fix the source of the leak. Tabarez recommends a towel to block the draft until you can get some window caulk or better windows. He has another practical tip that can be done with minimal work.
One thing I did yesterday, I replaced the filter of my heating system.
A dirty air filter can make your heating system less efficient, which could add to your utility bill.
It will make the fan work harder and might actually cause lower flow rate. So you will have less air, less hot air going into your house.
And even if you make the short-term adjustments, you might still need a sweater inside.
I am actually emitting heat that is absorbed by the wall of the windows. So if I'm in a place where every surface is cold, even though the temperature will be 70 degrees Fahrenheit, I might feel cold because my surroundings are cold.
The winter air conditioning has made for great show and tell right now. Kyle, this is the vent that blows 65.8 degree air on our desks at practically all times. However, that is better, as I bring it back to the window, better than the, now 62 degrees from outside. In Maryland, let's just make it as warm as possible as we say goodbye to our weird reflections in the mirror. And again, this is just proof. Just keep the blinds and drapes down and closed at night when the sun's not around, because that's a 10-degree difference right there. Although, if I'm going to sit, I'm probably feeling that 66-degree air above us.
Drapes closed this weekend, towels over your leaky windows, and one more time, just in case the bosses are watching, how cold is the AC vent that blows on us all winter above our desks?
65.8.
65.8. Okay, that's probably some type of workplace condition complaint. We'll file it with the state. Marshall, thank you. A Republican leader and former talk radio host in Colorado has lost his bid to block a lawsuit over his election rigging conspiracy theories. Former KNUS host, RNC National Committee man Randy Corcoran is being sued by an employee of Denver-based Dominion Voting Systems. Corcoran was an employee of 710 KNUS Radio, which had a variety of its hosts boosting the conspiracy theory that a Dominion employee was overheard on a secret conference call with Antifa saying the election was rigged. No evidence has ever been provided that's true. That employee, a man named Eric Coomer, had to go into hiding, and now he's suing Corcoran and Salem Radio. The State Court of Appeals ruled today that Salem's hosts on KNUS painted the election rigging conspiracy theory as a sinister plot, and painted the conservative activist from Douglas County who first made the claim as some kind of hero. That man, Joe Altman, who has since called for the mass executions of his political enemies, including members of Congress, the media, and President Biden, is increasingly being embraced by the Colorado Republican Party these days. Oltmann, who also owns DCF Guns in Colorado, faces lawsuits himself for his claims about Dominion and election rigging. At one point, a judge was fining Oltmann $1,000 a day for contempt because he refused to provide evidence of his election rigging claim. But Oltmann is increasingly being featured by the Colorado Republican Party, despite his calls for mass hangings. Oltmann headlined a post-election fundraiser for the party and the Colorado GOP's inauguration watch party next week. The invite mentions live streaming coverage from Oltmann's talk show. The cost of living in the high country is crushing for working-class Coloradans, even when things are going well in their lives. Then when an unexpected expense hits, it can be devastating. And that's why this week's Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign supports the Vail Valley Charitable Fund. For almost 30 years, it is how neighbors have taken care of neighbors in the valley. Like when Liam's family struggled with expenses navigating his disabilities, the fund was there. When the De La Cruz family couldn't afford the accessible van that they needed, VCCF came through for them with one of their grants for up to $7,500. When the Ponce family needed help covering the cost of Carlos's eye surgery, VCCF quickly turned donations into a check for that family. And because it is run for locals by locals, the work that nonprofit does sometimes is as basic as picking up the phone, talking to medical providers in town that they know, working to negotiate down bills for other people in the valley so that then donor dollars can go farther to cover those emergencies. I asked the people who run the Vail Valley Charitable Fund a question, right? With all of the wealth in the Vail Valley, why aren't these needs being taken care of? And their answer was equally direct. They said that a lot of the people with money don't live in Vail. They just visit their homes there. So it's left up to Coloradans to take care of Coloradans. So that's what we're going to do. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to join me and others in donating. 4,000 of you have signed up to simplify your giving with a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. That's meant we've started your recent micro-giving campaigns with more than $25,000 in donations each week. Use that same QR code or text to get there.
And now the church once again, speaks to you. It has new life again.
It is a bold yet vintage look for a parish in Denver that still stands despite the loss of the neighborhood around it. And our favorite Friday tradition continues in any weather. It's a break from the headlines, a focus on what is important in our neighbors' lives, and it's what that guy's up to. Next. St. Katans Church has seen a lot of change in its 99 years. Built in 1926 as Denver's first Hispanic parish, now it's a landmark on the Auraria campus. The building has returned to its roots, its bright yellow roots.
I mean, look at it. I mean, it's so incredibly beautiful and vibrant. I think everyone that kind of walks past now is like, oh my God, look at the church. Right now, we are in front of St. Katans. It's so much more impressive in this color palette.
Yeah.
St. Katans originally opened in 1925. As it nears its 100th anniversary, we're very proud to say that we're going back to its original colors.
Yeah.
And now the church once again, speaks to you. It has new life again. Sometime in the 1955 to 1965, they painted it pink. So it was like a wedding cake colored pink. That pink, we have found, was purchased because it was on sale. That's what the church had funding for at that time. I think that the building itself has an incredible amount of historical significance. You know, we're really talking about Chicano history of Denver, Colorado. People that were here celebrating weddings, funerals, baptisms, it's so incredibly special. When you think about iconography of Chicano community and you think about this beautiful mission-style church, it's important to point out that it doesn't blend into this campus any longer. Now it stands out. It is a beacon on this campus. When you are crossing over the Colfax Viaduct, you see this church. When you are walking from downtown Denver, you see this church. Here is the thing. The people that were displaced from these neighborhoods, this is a huge symbol for them, and we honor that. And now it's visible once more to everyone again.
It's stunning. It is a gem of Denver. The new paint job is the final phase of a multi-year restoration ahead of St. Katans' 100th anniversary next year. They also rehabbed the church's roof, redid some stained glass windows, and added a ramp to make it more accessible.
Our sub-zero streak will continue through Tuesday, making for a frigid holiday weekend. Tonight's next question comes from a viewer named Linda, who wanted to know what precautions Denver's taking to keep people safe during Monday's Marade, the annual March Parade honoring Martin Luther King Jr.
So, Linda, there are cold weather contingencies being put together by the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission, or DMLKJRCHC for short. That is the actual acronym that they use. I don't know if it's an acronym, but that's what they do. Anyway, Monday's march from City Park to Civic Center Park has been postponed until 10:30. Their ceremonies at City Park before the march have been shortened a bit. They're going to have heaters, hand warmers, hot drinks available at City Park before the march, and there will be warming shelters along the route. Now, even with all of those precautions in place, the DRMLKJRCHC says it might be best for seniors, small kids, pets, and people with health issues to just skip this year's outdoor event and commemorate the holiday indoors instead.
I'm not a big weather guy, you know, so I'm kind of more just like, if I can get on the ice, I'll get on the ice.
I'm not a big weather guy either, but I also can't skate, so I'm just going to sit inside. But silver lining for those of us bold enough to brave the cold and the ability to get on skates, some sweet backyard hockey this weekend. Sub-zero cold is going to keep many of us indoors this weekend, but it's what Mike Gold's family in Erie has been waiting for. Finally, the warm winter will break and allow them to continue a 13-year tradition.
The weather is absolute heaven. I mean, the fact that it gets cold, it's going to continue to allow the ice to stay for ideally as long as humanly possible.
I'm hot.
It brings us together. It's definitely one of our favorite holiday traditions to be able to have the family, you know, skate on it.
It's my childhood. I can't really say more than that. It's a lot of great memories with friends, family.
Personally, I think I could be the coolest kid on the block. I don't know about anybody else.
Today's my birthday.
Good news for me is being able to share the joy and passion that we have for certain things in which that we do, and for me it's definitely the backyard.
My life has gotten, this year was crazy. I got married in March, had a baby in September. I think the good news is that, you know, life is just going, you know, new things happen, and I think the biggest thing is I'm happy of where I'm at right now.
I won the Avs relay race last night, if that's anything. My good news is we won the Avalanche International Quebec qualifier.
My good news is I get to play with my friends, be on a team with them.
My good news, I think, is probably, you know, that I was able to get on the ice today and that I got out of school, so that's definitely good.
You know where to find them this weekend. We're back with your feedback next.
Happy Friday. The polar plunge is upon us. 26 degrees in Denver with a wind chill of 14. Snow is filling in. So is the cold. Highs over the weekend in the teens and single digits. Lows -5 to -10. But it's the wind chill -20 to -30. Make sure you're layered up. Remember your pets. Protect your kids and probably your pipes. We'll break above the freezing mark, but not till Wednesday of next week. Have a great weekend.
Feedback tonight from Terry, who says, I see you're soliciting donations through Word of Thanks to the Vail Valley Charitable Fund. Terry writes, why aren't the richest of rich in Colorado stepping up? Thanks for your efforts. Well, Terry, as we mentioned, the folks who run that nonprofit in the Valley say that a lot of folks with money in Vail don't actually live there, right? They just come in and visit homes. But that nonprofit exists because it is working class people taking care of working class people when they fall on hard times in the Valley. And I'm going to follow their lead, right? They're not complaining about who isn't helping. They're choosing to help. I choose to help as well. A text, why do you only have one button fastened? The entire sweater neck game is confusing. Yeah, my strengths don't include dressing myself.